Hey, my name is Jody and I am in network marketing. And today I'm going to tell you why I joined a network marketing company and why I decided that that needed to be in my future. Almost 6 years ago this August, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. And I was diagnosed with it at the point of life where I was almost crippled with it. Like the circumstances where I came home from out of state, not out of state, but actually out of the city. I was about 6 hours away from my home, and I could barely drive home. And I realized that it was really bad that weekend. I had felt symptoms for a long time. But anyway, I came home and the next morning went to the emergency room. And the emergency room people said, after I had spent most of the day there, that they thought I had fibromyalgia and I needed to see a rheumatologist. Okay, 1 month later, on top of the fibromyalgia, they come back and said I had lupus. So that's 1 month later. And on top of that, the next month, which just happened to be September, they said that I had cancer. So in 3 months, like, all of that happened. And in the space of that time, I lost my source of income. I lost my job, all of my jobs, and couldn't work anymore. It wasn't a matter of the fact that I didn't want to, or the fact that any other personal feelings about it. I literally could not do it anymore. And at that time, it got to be very depressing for me. It was very hard for me. So in October, something happened. I went to a festival with my family and had to sit on one of those rascal scooters, and it was very cold and barely made it home. And for 3 days I was paralyzed. Like, I had to have someone pick me up and carry me to the restroom. I had to have somebody do everything for me. It didn't get better. Like, I was able to get up, but I had, between the medicine that they gave me to help control the fibromyalgia, I was exhausted. Plus, my body was dealing with all of this all at once. So I was physically and mentally fatigued. And it was seriously depressing. I basically assumed that my life was going to be really hard from then on. And I was trying to figure out how I could do better, because I still had the desire to work. I still had bills that had to be paid. And so the point of the whole thing was really mentally fatiguing, on top of physically. I was actually allergic to the lupus medication, which turned out to be really difficult because the only medication that I could take for it, I was allergic to. And fast forward another year, and we had to do chemotherapy for the cancer. I had to be quarantined for 6 months. Even the people, my kids, and they had to completely sanitize before they came in the house. They had to, any groceries or anything. We talk about quarantining now and how everything has to be sanitized. My entire house had to be sanitized inside, like a hospital room. It had to be completely sanitized. I couldn't have my dogs with me. Everything in my house had to be completely sanitized from top to bottom. And that was mentally devastating because I couldn't be around anyone. I couldn't, very minimal contact. Couldn't have friends over. It was really rough. And I decided to look into network marketing because I wanted a job that I could do from home. I wanted a way to support my family. I needed some structure in order to feel like I contributed. And at the time, the opportunity was presented to me, and I was very grateful. And I am so grateful today for the opportunity that was presented to me. I went and started seeking advice, not only on what company to join, but also what, well, not really what, but who to look for as someone to guide me, because I wanted to make sure that I did it really well. I didn't have to be perfect, but I wanted somebody who knew what they were doing. So I joined a company. And through that company, I found different mentors, different people who were above me, and maybe not in the same company, but they were invested in teaching others and coaching others. And I would happen to be on a live Saturday night, I think it was Saturday evening, and I was watching this couple, and they were going to bring on this man, and they were going to interview him. And I thought, sure, I'll watch. I mean, what else can I do? I'm kind of stuck here. So in watching that live, this gentleman come on, and when he started to tell his story, it super resonated with me. And then when he started telling how long he had been in the business, he'd been in network marketing for over 40 years. And he really just told his story. He told how he was broke and how he had to sell a junk truck to even get started in the business because he didn't have the money to get started. And I thought, my goodness, that's me. I don't have the money to get started in a business. I had joined a company and basically wasn't able to stay with the company because I just didn't have the money. So I was like, this man really knows what he's talking about. So I reached out to him and I was like, what do you do? And what company are you with? And when he told me, I was like, oh, so you have supplements. Okay. Health and wellness. That's really cool. That sounds more like up my alley because that's something that I needed. So when I talked to him, he asked me what happened with me and, basically questions about me and my life. And when I told him, he was like, I can help you. I have something that can help you. And I was like, yeah, okay. Everybody has said that. Like I've had everybody reach out to me with little, things that they thought would help. And I accepted it because I needed the help. So we got together, and the deeper I got into the business and the deeper I got into it, the more I realized this was going to change my life. And the reason was that I couldn't hardly get out of bed. I had no energy. And the chemotherapy had left me completely depleted of any immune system. Like, I finally went out of the house to go to the doctor's office because the chemotherapy that we were doing, the type of chemotherapy that we were doing was literally burning the cancer out of my skin. And so it raised my blood pressure because the way she had told me to do it, I actually didn't take breaks like she said. I just went ahead and was doing it. And so it was giving me massive burns across my chest area, all the way up here to my neck and down under my arms and across my chest. And so my blood pressure raised up. And the way it was that they didn't even want me to go to the doctor's office. They didn't want me to go to the emergency room. And so they sent me to the doctor herself privately. I went straight in, saw her, and left straight away. Went straight back to the house, and we had to sanitize the car and everything else for me to even go in. Had to sanitize the doctor's office for me to even go in there. And only one person went with me, and then we went straight back. And it was my mom. We went straight back to the house, and just doing that, I caught a staph infection. So my immune system was almost virtually nothing. Got rid of all the chemo, quit doing the chemo, went to church for 2 hours, and in going to church for 2 hours, I caught pneumonia that day. Like, it was that quick. So, when I had reached out to this gentleman about his products and he had talked to me about them, I started taking them, and within 1 week, I noticed a dramatic difference in the amount of energy I had, the ability to get up and do things during the day, brush my teeth, even the littlest things. And so to me, it was almost like a godsend, because I was like, oh my goodness, I actually can do these things. And I haven't been able to do all these things in a couple of years. So he presented to me the opportunity that I could actually get the products and not have to pay for them if I would do the opportunity. And I was like, yes, definitely. I'm definitely doing the opportunity. I need to make money. I mean, like, I haven't been able to make money. So I jumped on it with both feet. But we were already so far in the hole that we wound up losing our home. And then I was involved in an accident and lost my vehicle. And I was like, but I had this opportunity. So I really focused on it. Like, I really focused really hard, and have managed to actually get back on my feet. And we are in the process of getting back on our feet, I should say. We have a vehicle, and it's a nice one. So if I hadn't been presented with the opportunity, though, to go ahead and have a chance to provide for my family, I don't even know what we would be doing right now, because I am super grateful that I caught the live and had someone who I could talk to, and I reached out to, and I was like, what company are you in? What are you doing? How can I do this? Because at that time in my life, I was very super depressed. I was very super down, because there was no chance of me going back and holding down a regular 9-to-5 job. There just wasn't that opportunity. I didn't have the physical stamina to do it. And I am forever blessed and grateful that someone took the time to reach out and say, this is a way that you can do this. Because if he had not done that, my life would not have changed. My future would not have been so bright. And that is one of the things that I wanted to say today, was the fact that, you know, people will say to you today, especially in this time, that they haven't got an opportunity. They haven't got a job. They have lost their income. And so if we hold tight to this and we don't share the benefits of it with them, and we don't share the fact that they could actually have a way to do this, that they don't have to be tied to the standard 9-to-5 job. I mean, look at where we are right now in this economy. Can we really depend on a 9-to-5 job? I mean, literally, when we think about it, can we? Well, we just don't know right now. So when we're looking at this and we're wondering about, should we join a network marketing company? Right now, network marketing has gone up. And I have a graph here that I want to show you, and I want to share it with you. And it is really interesting, because this was back in 2018, the Direct Selling Association put together this graph. And if you would look at this chart, see, this is its statistics. It has gone up 35%. Well, right under 35%, as you can see there. And this was actually from 2017, but it was compiled in 2018. So if you can just imagine, because I know that, like Eric Worre said, across the board, all network marketing companies have had their biggest months ever, last month and this month. And here it is, 2020. So if you look at that and say the rise in home-based businesses and network marketing has significantly increased. People who hadn't thought about it before are seriously taking a look. So now is the time to utilize that window, utilize that opportunity and say, this is the way that I can help others. This is me helping and giving back to others who can do this. People who have not been able to make any money. People like waitresses who rely on tips. People who are in a home-based business are now able to significantly give back to others by helping them to find a way so that others who have not been able to have an income can now make an income, can now provide for their families, can now pay their bills, can now put food on the table. And it raises not only just their depression so that now they feel like they can handle it, but it also significantly helps them so that they're mentally, they feel better. They feel like they can do this, they can handle it. There is a future, there is a hope so that they can do this. And, you know, Michael Jackson said in his song, you know, the man in the mirror, take a look at the man in the mirror. Well, in this case, the woman in the mirror too. I mean, take a look at that person. Ask yourself, what is holding you back? Why have you not looked into this? And, you know, if Michael Jackson could say, you know, we can make this place, we can do this, we can make it a better place just by taking a look at that person. We can do this. We can make it a difference. We can make a difference not only in our own lives, but in others. We can significantly help others by giving them this opportunity. So when we think about that, and in comparison, Yoda says that there is no try, there is only do. And why is that? Well, because in this business, which is one of the best reasons that I love about this business, is you're not going to fail at this business. You either do it and you learn, or you do it and you win. You don't fail. There is no terrible way, you know. So that's one of the things I love about this business, is that it is an opportunity for everyone. No, not everybody wants to do it. Not everybody is going to do it, but why not? Okay. So one of the biggest questions that you get from people is that they say, well, I just don't have the money. I don't have the way to do it. Okay. And I'm going to tell you from my personal experience, I didn't have the money to start a business. I didn't have the money to invest in a network marketing company. So what did I do? How did I go about that? Okay. Well, we sold some things. And instead of getting extra food and I don't mean like groceries, I'm talking about instead of going out to eat, instead of getting takeout to go to the house and having someone bring us food, I quit and we just started eating at home. And we did that for a while so that I could have the money. So it wasn't a matter of the fact that I didn't have the money. It was the fact that where I was putting my money. So instead of, you know, buying that extra pair of tennis shoes, I bought a cheaper pair of tennis shoes and I saved that money and put it towards my home business. instead of buying extra clothes at Target or wherever, or ordering them online, because at that time I was home. Instead of ordering a bunch of clothes online, I made do and cut back in other places where I realized that I could actually save that money and put towards my home-based business. Now, you might be able to have a yard sale, because, like, I'm going to straight up tell you this. People will do something if they really see the need in it. So what do I mean by that? If you have a bill that comes in the mail, you know you have to pay that bill. Irregardless, you're going to find a way to make that money so that you can pay that bill. Because you know, if it's your cell phone bill, it's got to be paid or it's going to be cut off. If it's the electric bill, it's got to be paid or it's going to be cut off. There is no other ifs, ands, or buts on that. They're going to expect their money. So one way is that if you realize that it is a priority, that if your future is never going to change unless you take the steps right now to change it, you will make that priority. I did. I had to make that priority because I didn't have a future at that point unless I made the changes, unless I made and took the actions needed to change the future. So when I actually looked at my budget, I realized the money was there. I just needed to put it where it belonged in order to change my future. And then I had to realize that I had the ability to do it. I actually had to sit down and think about my confidence, because at that point, my confidence was really low in myself. I mean, I wasn't doing very much. I had gone from being a mom who got up at 5 a.m. and I worked in, I cleaned several houses a day. Not just one, but I cleaned several large houses a day, like well over 2,500 square feet houses. Well, some of them were like 5,000 square feet houses. And I cleaned at least 3 of those a day. And I went from that to most days, it took everything I could do to get up, brush my teeth, take care of my personal items, and get a shower and crawl back into bed, because by the time I would do those things, I was exhausted. So I had to sit down and re-examine my abilities and say, I can do this. I can do this from my home. I don't have to leave my home. And not only do I not have to leave my home, but I have the money to do it. I actually can do it. I just needed to budget it in and realize that it was now one of my priorities. And when I saw the benefits in my own life, not only just the physical benefits, but then I actually saw the monetary benefits, I was like blown away. I was like, okay, it's very seriously worth it. And one of the things that you think about, and it doesn't matter if you go to work at Target, if you go to work at Walmart, if you go to work at McDonald's, wherever you go to work, they have a dress code. And most of the time, before you start work, this is what they will tell you. You'll need to buy these shoes. You'll need to get these kind of pants. And your shirts will be ordered for you and you'll have to pay for them. And that's just the way it is. They have a dress code. So, you know, before you start that job, you have to invest your time and your money and your gas to go back and forth to work. Wherever it is. Your boss isn't going to hire you and say, okay, wear whatever you've got in the closet. And, oh, by the way, we're going to provide you gas back and forth to work. That just, I mean, they don't do that. So that's the thing about this, is that you have to put in, and it's not that hard to do. You can do it. You just have to look at where you can make those adjustments and where you can make those cutbacks. And then do it. Like Yoda said, there is no try. There is only do. And that is a That is the whole thing right there. You can do this. It's not that complicated. It's not where you're going to have to all of a sudden become somebody who you're not. And that's the amazing thing about this business, is you can do it. It's going to be where you will have mentors, you will have coaches, you will have people that will help you. You will have resources at your disposal that can help you. You're not alone in this business, which is a fantastic thing. And there are people who are amazing. They've been in this business 30, 40 years, and they are willing to help you. They are willing to give you the information and the knowledge that they have acquired in order to do this business better. There's books written on it. So it's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. It's in like any other job. There's days when you get up in the morning and you don't feel like going to work, but you go into work anyway. Because why? Because at the end of the day, your paycheck depends on you getting up and going to work. Well, that's the same with this business. You get up, you have a dedicated schedule, and you say, I'm going to do it. And you do it. And the benefits that you will reap. Not only will you become a much more intuitive person, because you will actually gain friends and you'll gain knowledge and you'll gain insight into who you are. But if you're in the business, like if you're doing makeup, then you'll feel better about yourself. You will feel better about yourself if you're taking the supplements. Whatever your business is that you're doing, you will be like, I'm so glad I did this. That was the best decision I could have ever made. And one of the things that you hear a lot is the fact that people are like, well, I don't have to do it right now. I don't have to, I can wait. I can do it maybe in a week or next Friday. And then that Friday turns into 2 Fridays down the line. And so I want to address that, because if you knew you had a bill coming and maybe it comes on the 1st of every month, and say it's important like your electric bill, you wouldn't wait to go to work the last day of the previous month because you wouldn't have the money. It wouldn't affect that bill because you know it's coming tomorrow. So why would you put off doing something that could really and truly change your life? It could change your financial future. So why